Okay, we will wait for 1 or 2 minutes more and then we will start.
Okay.
Okay, we can start. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Bojan Milenkovic, and on behalf of Technology Park Belgrade, I have the honor to greet you. Thank you for joining us on the SPORTSTECH webinar, which is a part of the Colosseum Sport Serbia program. The STP Belgrade, with the Colosseum Sport Israel, have started the initiative Colosseum Sport Serbia with a mission to boost innovations in sports and to connect the relevant sports stakeholders in the Serbian ecosystem with the international players. We strongly believe that Serbia has a great potential in this industry, owing to its outstanding achievements in sports. As you probably know, Serbia is a homeland of a number of well-known athletes, great young engineers, and creative minds. Therefore, with this webinar, our goal is to drive discussion about tech and business trends in sports by showing the best examples and success stories. This is the second year of organizing this program. In the previous year, the program supported 7 startup teams, which are a part of our network now. Also, we have made many cross-industry connections and networking sessions with sport businesses, academia, current and ex-athletes, sport managers, executives, and entrepreneurs in sports. This is one of the programs organized by the STP Belgrade, one of the biggest startup and innovation communities within the Southeastern Europe region. By delivering a wide range of business support services, STP Belgrade is empowering change makers and dreamers to disrupt current technologies and introduce new innovative businesses. We have to say many thanks to the presenters and organizations which have recognized our mission: Adidas Ventures, Under Armour, Colodia, and La Liga, which will lead us through their initiatives and success stories that shape present and future of world of sports. This is after every presentation, you will have the opportunity to ask questions in Q&A session, so feel free to take your chance. The last but not the least, huge thanks to our partner, Colosseum Sport, for their big effort in our cooperation, for their commitment and helpful advice in our activities with the aim to build a strong sports tech community in Serbia. Thank you, guys. Now, I would like to invite the Managing Director of Colosseum Sport, Timothy Deshan, to say a few words about the Colosseum and their great work.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Bojan, and welcome everyone. Welcome to this SPORTSTECH webinar as part of the Colosseum SportsTech Serbia program. We have a great lineup of speakers, so I'm not going to be long. We are very committed to boosting entrepreneurship in sports and the overall sports ecosystem in Serbia. There's a great potential there, and we're very happy to be part of this journey with the STP Belgrade. So I'll just leave the room. I have a few more remarks to share after as part of my presentation, and I'll go elaborate further on that. But welcome everyone from all around, and I'll leave the floor to our next speaker now. Thank you, Bojan.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Tim. Our first speaker for today is Miloš Ribić, who is the director of Adidas Ventures, which is a corporate venture arm of Adidas Group. Miloš will reveal us the way Adidas sees the future of sports and their activities towards keeping up with the constant change in this industry. Miloš, welcome, and thank you for joining us. Just one more additional information. You can ask questions on the bottom of your screen. You have a Q&A button. So if you are on Zoom platform, you can ask a question there. And if you are on a live Facebook event, you can follow there and ask question in live chat. So, Milos, can we start?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us. So can you tell us more about the role of Adidas Ventures within the overall strategy of the Adidas Group?
It's mainly to scale startups that we invest in, only because the markets that the bigger brands or like Adidas is in really require, like quite a bit of support in order to move the needle in terms of revenue in each market. So each startup that we find interesting, that we invest in, we use investment as a vehicle to bring more people on board, to expand it, to build on the technology, maybe even to speed up the product development, just so that the business units within Adidas can use it faster.
Okay, thank you. And what about the way that Adidas is looking at the future of sports? Which sports tech are specifically interesting for Adidas Ventures and why?
So grassroots has been interesting even before the crisis and now, only because kids today have a lot of different choices when and opportunities to watch any content available to them. And so gaming obviously has pulled a lot of attention in one direction, and also in live streams or longer form content is really not capturing as much attention as it did before. So finding a way to attract the young audience is the priority for every, and the need and the problem for every single sports stakeholder.
And what can startups bring to Adidas? Why is this collaboration important for you?
So mainly the insights. So bigger brands don't really focus on this new and up-and-coming markets. So the startups that are really finding the niche and kind of the product and the fit with that market, then they have the insights that the big brand doesn't, and is interested in, and is willing to pay for it, and is willing to invest and be a customer of it. So these insights on how and the speed of engagement to the young audience and the duration of that, and the formats used for that, whether it's a fan engagement, whether it's a sports media, are very interesting.
And can you share more around the process of entry for startups that would like to support Adidas mission and collaborate with Adidas Venture? Also, what is the best approach to adapt for those startups?
So the sports ecosystem is finite. There's a limited number of all the investors in the early stage, later stage. I would consider Adidas Ventures more geared, also invested in early stage, but these are really entrepreneurs that have success, one or two times or more before coming into this market, and we're willing to back them, going even pre-product, pre-revenue. But that's one case. So the most common case is really there's a very defined list and of early stage sports tech and media investors. And they're the ones who really are more geared, more optimized to invest in a team that is going it for the first time. And in that early stage segment, it's really best to kind of come through the network of early stage sports investors as a whole, or even sports leagues and teams who then really reach out to bigger brands and really kind of present the opportunity.
Okay, and what is your personal perspective of the innovation trends in sports? What important problems would have to be solved in the next decade?
I think the immediate one is stadium revenue. US probably more so than in Europe. I think that is facing an imminent decline. Probably the overall sports businesses as a whole the revenues are declining about, let's say, at least 60 to 70%. So I think addressing stadium revenues, not having fans more likely the rest of the year, that will have to be, that it requires some creativity. Some teams are already trying to do that, offering fans to kind of, buy their kind of, image, or presented at a seat in a game. Some other teams are really offering kind of a standing kind of formats that have a required distance in between each fan. Regardless, that is still not going to capture the gap in revenue. So I think that innovation, that type of fan engagement, how our team's going to solve for that is the most kind of biggest requirement right now.
Okay, thank you. And what is the most radical innovation you've stumbled upon recently that you think will be really disruptive?
I think the concept of virtual athlete, Ironman has actually released, Ironman company released a program, a product where individuals can compete in the virtual races and using their wearables or other tracking devices to measure the distance and then compare with each other. And the concept of virtual training, especially on a virtual athlete, is, I think it's the one that's here to stay. I think we've seen quite a bit of even, in context of Ironman, individuals that have, performed really, really well, training absolutely virtually almost 90% of their time. Mm-hmm. And I think now with, obviously the current trends, that is going to become even in, required need, I think. And then in that context, capturing fatigue and offering recovering protocols, capturing fatigues before it happens, and much sooner, and finding the signals that really, using that kind of really glorified concepts of AI. So capturing data that would prevent the fatigue, prevent the injury, provide a better optimized recovery. I think is that's where we see, those trends are now. I think they're going to capture a lot more funding.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. And of course, about this situation and the virus and everything, how do you see this post-corona era in sports tech and in sports generally?
I think the data has shown that if you look at Peloton, that stock increased 66%. Obviously, that's just a one signal that fitness at home is growing tremendously. The usage for every single fitness at home offering has increased. So whether that's going to stay to be determined. I think with the going into a dedicated fitness clubs is imminently declining. So I think that's here to stay. Fitness at home is to stay, and I think now providing services serving customers in those new environments is the key thing for everybody in sports.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Do we have maybe additional questions for Milos?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I can jump in, Milos. It's great to have you here. So maybe if you can share a story of some entrepreneurs or some companies you've been working with along the years that has been, showing tremendous success and also adapting to the current times within your portfolio, or can you share maybe a story to inspire those entrepreneurs that are on the line in terms of how they build the companies, and then also maybe how you advise them on pivoting at one point to make it to make the product market fit more even relevant?
So I think probably more current one, a company called Green Park Sports. They do provide fan engagement. It's pre-product, and we're working with them heavily. That an example of entrepreneurs that have done businesses before. They really are tackling this space, to get kids to watch, or kids Gen Z to watch more live stream than live stream events than they usually do. So they're trying to improve that percentage that currently is declining. Therefore, right. We have an aging population of fans, which is the problem for sports stakeholders. So they're trying to really bring younger audience there. And the way we tend to work with them, because once they release a product, given the sponsorship of leagues and teams, we want to bring that on board as a platform. Because of there's a marketing spend that's done with every single league. There's budgets in place, so now they're not creating the ROI, they're declining, so it's not serving anybody. So I think we have an opportunity to really to kind of at least to improve that. So I think that's the most relevant one. And you ask a few questions. So the one that's been ongoing, it's in a different sector. It's in manufacturing, it's 3D printing. A company called Carbon. So they 3D print the soles of the shoes, and what's interesting, they can, the idea is first, it looks interesting. It's kind of a bird's nest kind of a shape, but then it can be personalized depending on, on a cadence, on the type of, activity, because it's simply 3D printed. So it allows for that, personalization. And so that's a company that, we invested in only because that was the kind of, we identified that as a core component of a key product, right. That sells millions of shoes a day, as of this, December 2019, that has declined. So now this is in, kind of a new territory that allows, quite a bit more experimentation. And so this is the company that had a technology, but now this insights coming from a footwear business, came in to really take that, a lot further. And so we did invest in a company for them to really increase the throughput. And there's so many new ones. Any manufacturing requires a lot of tuning. It's, it's never perfect. So it's been an ongoing, process to get it to this point. But again, quite a bit of, the pairs of shoes that have been sold with this product as a critical component is over 1 million.
Oh, That's amazing. No, I think it's a good lesson also to show that the corporate ventures, world, I think, because you mentioned the early stage investors that are active in more like type VC types. What's also really interesting about partnering with people and an organization like yours, Corporate Ventures, is that you're also able to put at the disposal of those startups the manufacturing powers, the experience, the market opportunities to the startups. So that's really relevant. Thank you for sharing. I think we got some questions from the audience, Boyan.
Yes, two more. How Adidas sees the running market, and what tech innovation do you see here or there?
I think it's first, it's now we're seeing it's very much a kind of a community driven, and there are some brands that are really focused on that. There's a great brand called Tracksmith, that has really geared for runners. I think it's one of those activities, once you get in it, you really want to now, like, you're living in that world. And so the way that Adidas has done a business, there are ambassadors, there's groups like Adidas Runners, and they offer training and coaching to it. The product itself is really like, developing based on, the insights coming from the market. There's always the devil is in the details, how these improvements happen, that is changing season by season. And I think, other brands are really pursuing the same way, the way they test about it, the way they kind of isolate for this improvements that will, tip the market. We've also seen a running shoe that Nike has released, and it had a really big claim. I believe it was reducing the time of 2% plus, which is interesting. No other brand has really able to make such claim that, the shoe and the components of the shoe will lead to such improvements. So, but all brands are pursuing that, because it's sort of, especially now that you can do it in isolation, it's the market that will be growing.
Yes, okay, thank you. And we have a question from Australia. Does Adidas Ventures also invest globally, for example, in Australia or Asia?
We do. The main focus is really for us is, on Gen Z audience. And so we've done investments in Australia and in Asia, not as actively as the US and Europe. The main thing I think is that, globally now engaging the Gen Z audience is the priority for every single sports stakeholder. And so we're using venture as a tool to do that. And so one way we do that is in the sports media and fan engagement on a more digital side, and on a more kind of a tangible product side are really the materials that are used in apparel and footwear. And so now, given the climate change, what everybody is pursuing is, building products that can be recyclable and finding materials that can do that. And so that is, really, the key trend. So that's really a different type of investing, not related to sports. It's really more related to manufacturing.
Great. Thank you. And one last question. Please to elaborate on the early stage networks that you mentioned. Question from Ronnie Kowalski.
Yeah, so there's a lot of this incubation trends that happen throughout, even Europe and also the world. So there's, companies like Techstar, then that known really, for incubation around the world. So they have really, programs set in place. More recently in the US, on a more sports media side, the media company Comcast has launched one such program. Then we've had a program run by a media agency that's been in business for a long time, RGA. Then kind of, off and on leagues and teams do the same thing. So Barcelona has had one for a long time. They really created a nice little program out of it. EuroLeague in basketball has created one as well. And so in MLS, leagues in the US, MLS and NBA and NFL would all do that during their kind of all-star events. They would do a startup competition. So they would even invite people to apply. So those are all examples. They happen around the world, and they're very, really, I think, widely broadcasted. So that's a really best way to enter, even if it's a company, first-time entrepreneur, pre-product, pre-revenue, or some traction. It's, for us to really to engage with them meaningfully, we have to really see some engagement metrics that are much later stage. And so therefore, these programs are much more geared for that. And in each of these programs, there's really a very vast mentorship network of people that do invest in early stage. So, whoever the entrepreneur, within a couple of months can really tap into all those networks pretty efficiently.
Okay. So thank you a lot, Milos, for your openness to share your experience with us. It was great, and I truly believe very helpful for all our startups which are seeking new innovations in sports. Thank you a lot.
Thank you so much, Milos.
My pleasure.
Okay, now I will ask Tim to take the lead. He will introduce us to sports tech trends and predictions for the next decade. Tim, please.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Bojan. I will just ask the STP team to allow me to share my screen, just so I can. There you go. Perfect. Thank you so much. So welcome again, guys. And I was just asked to share some thoughts about the sports tech world and generally the sports tech ecosystem. So just a few words about us, Colosseum, to share. So we're an international sports innovation group. We're based in Tel Aviv, offices in the US. Our mission essentially is to empower the sports industry with disruptive technologies and innovation. And so we're very proud to do that in Serbia in partnership with the STP. We do several things. We have products that are mostly addressed to sports organizations and sports corporates. We run programs for early stage startups, so you can check them out. And then we organize events to gather our global community. Just to share a few words about our products. So we have an online sports tech platform that's free to use. Just sharing here. So it gathers all the data, the relevant data and information you need to know about the startups of the field, the investors, the communities. It's free again to sign up, so feel free to use it, and we'll be happy to get you on board and help your sports innovation journey. Speaking of sports innovation, we have a product that we're launching, Cluefield, and I'd like just to welcome Tal on the line, my colleague, which is the managing director of Cluefield, just to share the one-liner about Cluefield.
Hi everyone, thank you, Tim. So as Tim mentioned, can everybody hear me? Okay?
Yes, perfect.
As Tim mentioned, I'm the managing director of Cluefield. Cluefield is an exclusive membership for sports organizations to enjoy innovation system support. As Tim said, we are linking the initiatives and we will provide immediate values for all of you who want to start working on sports innovation projects. We are looking forward and very excited to support you, Serbian sports organizations, in building innovation projects that are definitely now needed more than ever. So feel free to contact me. I will share the details here, and I will be more than happy to share with you more. That's it in one line. Tim, thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the talk.
Thank you, Tal. Thank you so much. So I'll put a Tal contact at the end of the presentation. You can check it out. So let's jump right into today's topic. So first, sports tech. We can ask ourselves, what is it really sports tech? So if you look at the basic definition, it's the intersection of sports and technology. What does that means? It means when technology or innovation is used to create a solution in the environment of sports. When looking at the main sports tech areas where technology is applicable in the field of sports, those are the main ones. Truth in sports, you're all familiar with the VAR technology that was used in the World Cup 2018 in Russia. The field of fan engagement that Milos mentioned is very important in sports tech, how to engage creatively with your fans through innovative experiences. Then, of course, the smart facility field, how to create in live venue experiences that are connected and smart. Finally, on-demand content and augmented athlete, just how technology and innovation can help get access to sports content anytime on any device. And then also, lastly, how can you help boost the performance of athletes through notably the power of data analytics. If you look at the industry in general, sports tech has been growing exponentially over the last couple of years. Today, we estimate there's more or less 4,000 active sports tech startups globally, on which $12.6 billion were spent in funding. So just like Milos mentioned, people do invest, and VCs and corporates do invest in sports tech. And the overall industry was valued in 2019 at $8.9 billion, and it's expected to grow five times this amount in the next 5 years. In terms of I wanted to share just with you some key sports tech trends that we identified in 2019 and that also we're betting on for 2020 and the next upcoming decade. If you look at the first one is data-driven performance. So one of the applications of sports technologies is in the field of performance. If you look what happened over the last couple of years and months, we've seen really the standardization of wearables. Those devices that help you collect data about your performance, to track your activity, whether you're an amateur athlete, whether you're an ambitious amateur, or even a professional athlete. Companies like Whoop have been on the rise doing just that. The rise also of video as a tool to analyze performance. And if you look at the acquisition of Y-Scout, the giant in scouting through video by Huddle, you can tell this has been key more than ever in the sports world to analyze performance. But our bets for the next, for this, bizarre year so far, but for the next decade in general, is the rise of non-invasive technologies. So the technologies that will integrate seamlessly into the environment of players and athletes will be the game-changing ones. And then, of course, breakthrough in human science to test and to modelize bodies and test performance systems are also on the rise. The second trend I wanted to share with you is around the streaming revolution. If we pause for a second, of course, streaming is nothing new in terms of the technology or the method that consists of transmitting or receiving data over a computer network. But the maturity that this technology has reached over the last couple of years is disrupting every aspect of the sports, the way we practice it, the way we engage with it, we produce it. So that we call it a revolution. And esports, is the best example of that. If you look at current times or driving for esports, a platform like Twitch, which essentially is just a streaming platform for esports, has been seeing its viewership growing exponentially. I think it was plus 20% just over a month, just because people want to engage with esports on these streaming platforms. In the field of fitness, again, Milos mentioned it. Interactive fitness has been on the rise. I was actually discussing with Marco right before our talk, and he told me, yes, I was working out from home, looking at the best gesture and so on. So you have a lot of solutions like that, and Peloton is one of the most successful ones. But looking ahead, also outside of those key major aspects, we think in the field of streaming and production, automatic production will be the new commodity. What's automatic production? Is essentially the ability to replace a full media operations with camera operators by one or just two smart cameras that are artificial intelligence powered, and that allows any club, any team, any sports organization to use sports at an affordable cost and broadcast it real life for the audiences. So that is a breakthrough that we're betting on, and of course. And we'll have good examples of that in the lineup of speakers we have. Immersive and augmented experiences for media with AR and VR create new experiences that engage viewers in a way that's never been seen before. The last but not least trends that I want to emphasize is the new engagement around the fans. Fans are at the center of the game at the end of the day, and now more than ever, sports organizations have to create through innovative solutions, fan-first content, which means personalize, customize the sports content to the needs of your fans. But to do that, you need to know them, know how to activate them, and know how to monetize them. If you look at companies like media, they've been able to produce this kind of atmosphere where fans feel at home. They feel like even they could get a stake in the game, and that's what fan-owned experiences are. If you look at a company like Socios.com, Socios is using blockchain to give fans a stake in the game, power, a voice in the clubs that they're partnered with, like PSG or AS Roma in Italy. So this is something that's been on the rise and that will continue, especially in an environment that we are today where fans are not in the stadium as of now. Then I just wanted to mention on the go, and I know in Serbia it's an industry that's very much growing and already big. The sports betting and the fantasy world are great environments to innovate. The experience, on the sports betting platforms is improving, but slowly, and requires disruptive innovation. So for companies or entrepreneurs listening to that, this is a field also very interesting field to monetize and to build innovation solutions for. And then finally, and just to share, I wanted to share with our audience, especially our audience of sports organizations, that as the sports world today is shaken by the COVID-19 outbreak, we at Colosseum and Colosseum SportsTech Serbia think that innovate is more important than ever. And innovate, just because in COVID compliant conditions, innovations in the technologies I mentioned before, in big data, in AI, in blockchain, in augmented reality, in virtual reality, even 5G for connectivity or cybersecurity, all of those technologies will be the enabler to do what you have to do in terms of broaden your content reach, put your content available to all fans out there, not only the ones in the stadium, drive the fan experience and create customized and personalized experiences, but also engage your sponsors and find creative ways to engage them and to monetize your sponsorships, altogether to generate new revenue. And finally, of course, on the sports performance side, those technologies will be key to improve performance. So in order to succeed, unfortunately, technology won't be enough. And I think it's just the message I want to convey is that a wider transformation is needed on the sides of, if you're in the sports business, you have to understand that it's the whole business that's going to be reshaped in the coming months and years. So how do you do this? I just want to share the 4 pillars of this kind of transformation. Focus on the people. We have to set strategic goals, ambitious ones set by an ambitious leadership, and onboard everyone in the organization with us. And also change the mindset into a more innovative, friendly mindset. The process also within the organization and the technology and innovation that you can implement to make things work more efficiently within the organization is key. Altogether powered by technology. Technology is the enabler of that transformation, and also comes collaboration. The idea that, alone we can't do it all, and that we have to be open both internally to collaborate internally, but also to look outside, look at other expertise and outside players that can make an impact on your business and improve it for the better. So those are just the 4 pillars that I wanted to share with you. And as Tal mentioned, we're happy to get in touch and help you through this journey. Just wanted to share those keywords, key remarks with you. You have our emails and LinkedIn here. If you want to connect, feel free to check more info also about us on colosseumsport.com. And again, very excited for this talk. We have a great lineup of speakers remaining, and I can't wait to be listening to them. So thank you all, and I'll be happy to take any questions we got from the chat.
Tim, I wanted to just to ask you one more question. Can you share with us your experience and one good or more good examples of startups that are combining, let's say, monetization and fan acquisition and fan engagement? Can you share more with us?
Of course. So we have we have a startup based in Tel Aviv that has operations in New York now, and it's been growing exponentially even in those times. It's called WC Sports. What they do is that they created a solution that makes automatic highlights of sports games. So they plug the solutions onto the feed of, let's say, the NBA producing, or ESPN producing a game, right? And then in real time, you'll get on all the social channels the best tricks and best shots of tricks of Stephen Curry, and very personalized on all channels. And so this is a success story because they have been able to identify a pain point, which was making videos, highlights of sports games to provide the audience with highlights. And they're making it automatically and very fast at scale using artificial intelligence. And now they actually just struck a deal with the Belarus league, the only league in the world that's been playing for the last 2 months. So that shows you, they're able also to adapt on the current situation. So that's a success story that I could share, for example.
Great, thank you. So if we don't have more questions, we can further go on, and then we can go back later if we have more questions for Colosseum and for you. So thank you, Tim. Our next presenter will be Marko Markovic, who is a marketing manager for the Balkan region at Under Armour. Marko will tell us more about the company that is one of the leaders in manufacturing footwear, sports, and casual apparel. So, Marko?
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, okay, you're here.
Just 1 second to share my screen.
Okay.
Okay. Can you see it now?
Yes,
it's
here.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to talk with you today about tech-powered athlete development and success story of Under Armour. My name is Marko Markovic, and I come from Quantum Sport, which is Under Armour distributor for Balkans region since 2017, and I work here as a regional marketing manager. This on the picture is Kevin Plank, a young football player who played American football for University of Maryland and founder of Under Armour. Kevin wanted some 24 years ago to solve a problem. So the players wore t-shirts underneath the armors that are standard equipment for American football. And those t-shirts were soaked in sweat very fast. That made them heavier and also limited their moving range, so the players could not perform at their best level. So in 1996, Kevin came up with the revolutionary performance t-shirts that wicked sweat and regulated body temperature, making athletes cooler, drier, lighter. And since this t-shirt that was made in 1996, Under Armour has grown into one of the most innovative sports brand on the market. This Baltimore-based company today is worth $3.5 billion. So who are we? Under Armour is the human performance company that gives you the edge to push beyond any limit. Our mission is that Under Armour makes you better, and our vision is that to inspire people with performance solutions they never knew they needed, but once they tried it, they cannot imagine living without them. So who are we addressing to? Our target group is focused performer. Focused performer is not age or gender or education specific group. It's more of a mindset. Those are people who strive to get the best result, people who get sports 3 or 4 times a week. And basically this global mindset today is worth more than $100 billion. So how do we win with focused performer? And Under Armour created something that is called the human performance system. Basically, it is an ecosystem in which every athlete lives. So he has to train, he has to compete, and also what is not less important, at the end of every competition, he needs to recover in order so he can train more and to perform better. So during these 20+ years, Under Armour created different technologies to help athletes to get better. Of course, we cannot talk today about all of them because we're limited with time. I chose to speak about these 3 technologies, so Rush, Connected Footwear, and Recover. So let's start with Connected Footwear. Connected Footwear is the platform that was launched like 5 years ago. And basically it's a chip that is inserted into the right shoe. And it can connect with your mobile phone through the app to the family of apps called MapMy. And this gave Under Armour access to more than 270 million users worldwide. What makes a great connected product? So it has to be easy to use. It has to give you a seamless experience. So basically, when you have a chip in your shoe, you can leave the phone at home and go for a run and still not lose data about your exercise. And it has to solve your problem. When you use the shoe and the app, it really can make you a better runner through live form coaching tips. So easy to use. Simply, you connect to App Store or to Google Play Store, download the app, put it near the telephone near your right shoe, tap 2 or 3 times the ground just so the application can register a movement, and the shoe is connected within seconds with your phone, and you can go for a run. It's that easy. It's really a matter of, I think, less than 1 minute it takes to connect the shoe with the app. So the chip is inserted into the right shoe, and really the question that usually pops up is it waterproof? So can you wash your shoes? Of course you can do that. It's well protected. The other question also that pops out is the battery concern. So the battery of a chip is designed to outlive the shoe's life expectancy. So there's no problem, your shoe will work fine. Let's speak about data. So when you connect the shoe with the app, you can go for a run and leave the phone at home. You won't get all data. So you won't get GPS and map route, you won't get weather data, and you won't get your evaluation graph, but still you will get pace, cadence, stride length, distance, duration of your run, and mile flips. Let's dig in deeper with the data. So what is cadence? Cadence is number of steps taken per minute, and stride length is the distance traveled after taking 2 consecutive steps left and right. So this data is only possible with connected footwear. When you crossed it with the phone, so if you go to run with your phone, as of February 1st, 2020, all hover-based footwear from Under Armour comes with the chip inside, and the new updated app can give you, based on your run and your previous runs, can give you real-time form coaching tips that can really improve your running results. I tried it, it works really good. So this is it about connected fitness. So let's say something about Rush. Rush is basically, this technology was launched last year, and it's the groundbreaking mineral infused performance fabric that recycles your body energy and increases your blood flow, giving the athletes an edge to maximize their performance. This came out as a result of Under Armour's relentless pursuit of athletes' greatness. And to put in the similar words, Rush gives you a similar benefits like infrared sauna does. So basically, they took 13 minerals out of earth, out of ground, turned them into powder or active particles. And then before the fabric was made, the knits were soaked into this powder, and then the fabric was made. So when you exercise, your body gives off energy while you work out. Of course, that's heat. The mineral infused fabric reflects that heat back, takes that heat, turns it into energy, and reflects it back into your tissues and muscles. The blood flow increases, making your blood vessels get wider, so you get more oxygen, and it results with improvement of your strength, energy, and stamina. Recover. Our bodies are efficient at creating energy, but they are not so efficient when it comes to retaining it. So Under Armour partnered up with Salient Technologies to create a fiber that turns body heat into infrared light that can help your muscle recover much faster. So this groundbreaking technology is the ultimate post-game and post-training recovery system that at the beginning came up only as a sleepwear, but today recovery products are available in hoodies, t-shirts, jackets, tracksuits, and etc. So how does recovery work? So basically you have a bioceramic technology that is printed into the fabric that captures your natural energy while you rest, so it's also heat, and converts it to infrared light. It reflects it back to your body, and this results in increase of your blood flow, increasing the oxygen level in your muscles and tissues, and your body recovers much faster. Last but not least, Under Armour is committed to making people better. And during this unprecedented time, that remains unchanged. Under Armour wants to help healthcare workers around Europe that are in first line of defense and fighting with the coronavirus. So they donated almost 1 million euros in recovered products to help our healthcare workers across Europe. This is it from me. Thank you very much for a chance to present you Under Armour and our innovations. And I'll be glad to answer any question if there is. Thank you very much.
Sorry, I was muted. Sorry. Thank you, Marco. We have a question. Does connected footwear gives force projection data?
Sorry, does give which projection?
Does connected footwear gives force projection data?
In my opinion, no, but with the update, I think this will come. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. And can you tell us more about the innovation process in company globally? Do you cooperate with startups, or you have your R&D department, or what is your innovation activities?
I think Under Armour partners up with different companies around the globe in order to make their innovations. Of course, like Salient, I was speaking about this. They partner up to make with them to make Russian recovery. But all this, let's say, magic happens in research and development laboratory that is based in Portland. So this is the R&D department there, and all the magic regarding the new products and all the updates of the current products. It's is the place where they work with our athletes to give the best solution for all of them.
Okay, thank you. And one more question. Technology is not only shaping the future of sports, but also creating new types of sports, for example, esports. How Under Armour will adapt to this?
Well, I think Under Armour is seeing also these global trends, and I think working with things like applications for mobile phones and etc. This will probably be the future, of course, and I think they will keep up with it.
Okay, thank you. And team, do you have to add something?
No, I just want to thank Marcus. I think it's a it's a great example of a company that's constantly innovating, even reaching that size. And I know they're very much open to innovation, and with the R&D center in the US and also some activities in Europe. So no, great examples of as Marco put it, like simple technology and great application, user experience, very seamless, and the adoption is large. I mean, 270 million users of the app you mentioned. So that tells you the scale of it. So no, just want to thank
family of apps, but okay, it's basically for all the apps. Yeah,
amazing. So thank you so much, Marco.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Marco. So we are now going to hear more about Holodia, a leading VR fitness provider offering multi-sport immersive VR cardio workouts. Janine Lauritsen, the CEO of Holodia, will tell us more about their great example and their use of cutting-edge technology that brings fun into gyms and homes. Janine, thank you for joining us. Please lead us into this story about Holodia.
Thank you for allowing me to participate here. It's great. I need to check first whether you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, that's great.
Well. Yes.
Great. I had a small technical problem, so I'm calling in from my mobile phone. Can I also ask you to help me share the screen, please?
You have down there on the bottom of your
Should I just
screen.
do that straight away from my computer?
Yes,
that should be the way to do it.
We can see it. Yes.
That's very perfect. Let me just actually open it up for you. All right. Thanks a lot. Listen, it has been great to listen to the previous speakers. There is in these webinars and forums, there's always something to learn. And even though as a startup in Holodia feel that we are successful in most of what we do. All startups fail to a greater or a bigger extent all the time. So there's always something to learn, and I appreciate that very much. I also want to start just by giving a greeting from my co-founder, Bojana Knežević, who's actually Serbian. I thought that was worth mentioning. She couldn't do the webinar today, so I'll do the speak in her place. At Holodia, we have started out some years ago developing a virtual sport tech platform that, in a very simple way, just simply make fitness fun. I agree very much with the previous speakers that in order to succeed as a sport tech startup, or perhaps more correctly at this stage, in our case, a fit tech startup, you have to innovate and you have to bring something new to the scene. And that something new has to bring value. If it doesn't bring value and if it doesn't solve a problem for a lot of people or for specific segments, it's going to be very difficult to find a product market fit and scale something. So for us, what has been important from the very beginning and continues on a daily basis to be super important is that we innovate, the product platform that we have developed, and we continue to engage with our community, with our customers, and with the industry to fine-tune and refine what it is that brings value. If you look at the global fitness industry as a vertical or a segment of the sports industry, you'll see that some of the very big companies in the industry, they have defined that there is a very big deficit actually in the industry between what is on offer and what people want. And it's in one of those spaces where Holodia is actually operating and positioning itself. That's a space where there is a big deficit, there's a big gap in the cardio machine area between what is actually on offer on a cardio machine and what people actually want. So that's where we have developed a sport tech platform that is virtual, or perhaps rather I should use the word immersive, because we use the word virtual about many different things, but when you actually operate with mixed realities, either VR, AR, or actual mixed realities, it becomes immersive. And the big difference, of course, is that you are there, you are in it, and you actually experience on your body what is happening in a different world than what the world you are in is. We are looking at a time in the industry also pushed by the corona crisis, where things are accelerating. In our segment between the commercial industry, the gyms and home fitness, I think it was also mentioned by Adidas Ventures, there has been a shift. At Holodia, we don't see that shift as a fundamental shift in perpetuity. We see that as a temporary shift where digital and connected sports and fitness is accelerating, especially if you can deliver, or if you are delivering something that brings value to the home. But it's going to be for a while, and we do also believe that gyms are going to come back strong, not in the way where you will always go back to the same gym, but in a more balanced way between what you want to get outside and what you actually want to do at home. So it's an industry that will continue to grow very, very fast, but it will grow differently than what it has been doing up until this point. The platform solution that we have developed is first and foremost software. It's immersive fitness that combines gaming and fitness. And that's really one of our, I would say, unique selling points, to make fitness fun and to create a new universe to train in. What we have developed is something that for the individual is 100% customizable. That means that if you want to do one thing one day, but another thing another day, it's up to you. We don't dictate on the platform that there is only one way of doing it. You can be on a rowing machine the one day, you can be on a bicycle the next day, or you can be running the third day. You can go into one sport mode or a different sport mode. So what has been very important for us is to customize and to find ways where we can customize at scale. Because imagine if you could deliver something to everyone around the world where each individual person can say, one day I want one thing, the other day I want another thing. And that agility and ability to customize is very close to our heart and the way that we innovate things. It's also been very important for us to develop something which has a level of addiction. And I say this in a positive way, which creates habits, which is something that people want to come back to. And we have achieved that by actually gamifying everything that we do. What we have done is we have opened a new dimension of cardio training. If you think back to a simple cardio machine, machines have been there for a long time. They've been there for 30 years or something like that. So the industry has had a long time to create great machines. And when you look at the hardware, many of them are truly great machines. We have them everywhere. They're in the gyms, they're in hotels, they're at home. But there are some major failures, right? They all look the same. And they all deliver experiences that very often are exactly the same. A good case, a good example of a startup that has done really great, that everyone knows, is Peloton. You know, when you think about it, Peloton, it's a bike and it's a TV screen, and you put the two together. But it's enigmatic. It's fantastic how they have actually created a very strong product that timing-wise has hit the market exactly when there has been a shift from commercial gym and into consumer fitness. So you look at this slide here and you see what our focus is in the dimension of cardio training that we have built up. We try to boost the experience. We add the latest technology. We engage people with community, with leaderboard, and with an ability to track data. And then we just simply create amazing experiences that people can choose at their will. If you look at the content behind the platform, what you can achieve and what you can experience on the HoloFit platform, today this is basically developed in-house. It's a lot of different content and workout options that are gamified, different tracks in more or less realistic scenarios. And then it's online multiplayer driven, which actually gives us an entry into global esport. Not esport as you know it, where you sit in front of your computer and you're basically not really moving because you are gaming in the traditional sense all the time, but actual digital sport where you perform sport, you are working out, but you do it in an immersive environment and an immersive world where you are competing with others. Whether you're on your own, whether you are in the club, between clubs, or even between fitness chains. So the value that we bring into the home is value that hits exactly what it is that home fitness users want and what they're not getting. Here, just a couple of examples of how people give feedback to us. And this is really the most important thing for us. This is really, the interaction with the customer, the interaction with our subscribers. Even though that we are quite far ahead in our process of finding the product fit to the market, for me, my philosophy is we're never going to find the ultimate fit to the market because it's a process, and we will continue to have the platform evolve and engage with consumers to be meeting their demands, and then to be a little bit ahead of the pack so that we can surprise them on a regular basis as we come out with new amazing content and new ways of doing training. We also operate in the gyms. There, the value proposition is a little bit different. Gyms use the HoloFit as an attraction and a retention tool, but they also use it for something which is really very, very important, and that is to monetize the cardio line. If you think about it, around the world, all the gyms in the world, you've seen cardio lines for many, many, many years. And these cardio lines are basically dead equipment just standing there. They have never been monetized. And so with the HoloFit platform, what gyms can actually do is to find a new revenue stream by monetizing the cardio floor. And that is something that many gyms offer to their members now. Now, obviously, right now with the world having closed down in terms of gyms, we are looking right now for us as a post-COVID scenario, and we have had time. Not that it's necessarily the most fantastic period in world history right now, that's for sure. But we have had time now to dedicate on our consumer segment and see very, very strong growth there in the last couple of months. I think you asked me, Boyan, a little bit, what does the future look like? And you'll see this slide here, and you'll see that there are some boxes where there are crosses in. And obviously, I can't sit here and reveal sort of everything that we have in our product development pipeline, but I can give you some pointers as to what it is that's going to happen for the HoloFit platform in the future. It's software. It's hardware agnostic. It basically works with all kinds of machines. And even if you took a golf club and went out on the field or did golf inside, HoloFit is software that will work also with different types of sports. So we have started in the cardio segment, and then we move through cardio and other fitness and sports segments into the future. Gaming is absolutely, that's hard blood for us. So we will continue to deliver amazing gamification to our users, and then evolve over time with a HoloFit software version, which doesn't only go on the cardio machine, but also will be a freestyle version that can be used either with a headset or even, of course, with the mobile phone at the moment. So I think there's a small box down there that talks about HoloFit AR outdoor running, and that's something that we're going to see in the future when augmented reality technology actually gets to a point where it can be commercialized. I think that sort of concludes the very brief run through what it is that we do and the value proposition that we have in HoloFit. And more than happy to answer some questions.
Okay, thank you, Shanine. We have a few questions. Let's say, do you think that next step in fitness is VR fitness gym? And how much do you think innovation changed the way we do exercise?
That's a good question. I don't think that we will see many pure VR fitness gyms in the next couple of years. I don't think the evolution will be that fast, and I think that VR fitness gyms will probably be categorized more as a kind of a mix, a hybrid between a gym and an arcade. A good example on that today is Black Box VR. I don't know whether anyone knows it, but Black Box VR, Ryan DeLuca out of Idaho, Boise, Idaho, good friend of mine actually, not competing with us, but in a complementary way, having built what is actually a VR gym. It's for weight training. You go into the gym and then you actually put on a headset, and in a black box, you are actually using hardware to simulate weight training instead. So I think you will see these kind of very specific VR gyms that would sort of narrow down and look at one particular training area. You could also see in the future cardio training VR gyms, but I think VR fitness and immersive fitness will be more a boutique fitness concept inside the commercial industry. And then the real growth, if you will, from a scaling point of view, what investors will be looking at, yes, it's the commercial sector, but it's really the consumer sector. That's where it scales. That's where the growth is really fast these days.
Yes, thank you. And is this technology limited to cardio machines? And if yes, do you see a way for it to be applicable to a broader use?
It's a good question. It has been limited to cardio machines. HoloFit is right now, we are at Holodia, working very closely with a very big company that was recently, and not recently, some years ago, bought by Facebook Technologies. They are located over in a valley in the west, and we are working closely with them to exactly enable Hall of It on some of their platforms outside the cardio machines. That means that in another month or two, you'll actually have a freestyle version that does not require a cardio machine. So the answer is yes, soon.
Okay, thank you. And the last question: in which way do you think Hall of It will change people's perspective and likings on cardio exercise?
Well, listen, I think that what we are hoping is, and what we can see on consumer growth and on data is, first of all, people are having fun, right? We have changed the game. You know, going on a rowing machine is no longer super boring. We see that people come back to it. That means that we have possibly managed to create something that creates repeatability and that may change habits. We see that with our own community that is growing, and that changes the habits. And that's really what we want to do. We want to add value. So it's I think that that cardio training will change. You know, the vision statement for Holodia is very simple. It's 2 words: fitness reinvented. And the hope that we have is that when we look back in maybe another 3 years or another 5 years, and we look at the global cardio segment, we'll say that point was the time. That point was a watershed when Holodia and a couple of others actually came out with immersive technology that's super cool, in great quality, at the right price, and changed cardio fitness training forever. Because I can guarantee you that when you have been on a rowing machine without the Hall of It, and you then try the Hall of It, and you train with that for a couple of days, and then afterwards are asked to go back without the Hall of It, people don't want to do that because it's super boring.
Okay, thank you a lot. This is for me great example how advanced technologies can be used for disrupting something that we think that cannot be disrupted, and something that we use as let's say regular activities like going to gym. So thank you once again for joining us and for sharing your story to us.
My pleasure.
Okay, now I will invite Tim to take the lead and announce the next speaker.
Yeah, so thank you, Shanine. Once again, I share the Boyan's point that this is a great example of technology for the mass market in areas that still need to be disruptive. But we're very happy to welcome on the next and the last speakers 2 amazing representatives from La Liga. I'm sure you're all aware of La Liga, and of course they're making the headlines every time, but especially right now with the discussions around whether, when, and how come back to the field. But this is not what we want to tackle today. We want to focus on digital transformation, because La Liga has set an amazing benchmark for sports organization to transform the whole organization from A to Z, ups and downs. And I think Marta and Elisa will share great insights on how they went through that transformation process, and also what technologies they use. So bienvenido y muchas gracias. Thank you so much, Marta, Elisa, for joining us.
Thank you, Timothy. Okay, it's Elisa who's going to start in this case. Okay, I'm going to share my screen with you. Okay, can you see it? Yeah?
Yeah, there you go, perfect.
Okay, so, well, hello, good afternoon. First of all, I want to thank you, Colosseum, for inviting me to participate in of course, in your SPORTSTECH webinar. It's a real pleasure for me has been La Liga delegate for international development in the Balkans, in Serbia, and also in Hungary, Romania, Bulgaria. And it's a pleasure to speak to this audience about the digital transformation that La Liga has experienced in these last years. So we're going to start by telling you a bit of our story and putting you in context. Since the arrival in 2013 of the new management, there have been big changes being implemented in La Liga that have, of course, speed up this digital transformation. The first one, very important one, was to set up an economic control for the clubs to improve their economic situation and set the basis for future economic growth. The second one was the collective sales of the TV rights, which were included in a royal decree of 2015. And of course, this allowed La Ligas and association of professional clubs to sell the rights for the clubs nationally and internationally. And third, and not least, our international strategy. In this case, I'm going to explain La Liga Global Network. What makes us different from other leagues? Well, this project was thought so that we could expand internationally, but not only going to the countries and doing activations and then leaving, but being present and having a physical presence in each of the strategic markets. We have an international presence, in this case, in 44 countries through 10 offices and 46 delegates of this La Liga Global Network, with a total reach of 84 countries. So all of these three processes that have been going on had a very big impact in this digital transformation and in the structure of the company. So for example, in 2013, we were like less than 60 people working in La Liga, and now we're more than 550 people. So you can imagine these great changes we've experienced during the last years. So the idea of this project was to have a key person in each of the key markets around the world, which will be the contact for between Madrid and the relationships created in the country. So this including the institutions, the partners, the stakeholders, influencers, fans. And this way we could provide a clear picture of the current situation of the markets, and also share La Liga story in a very personalized and localized manner. So our mission are mainly three, which of course the digital aspect has a big relevance, like increasing our value internationally by generating brand awareness around the world, and we're working very hard with our brand in this case, and increasing the number of followers, and of course generating business opportunities for our clubs. So getting into the digital part, okay, we call this the local strategy, no? Both local and local. It has four main pillars. The audiovisual part, of course, is really important for us, as for example in Serbia we have a sport club as our broadcaster, and our broadcasters are our main clients, as they own our product in the countries, and of course increasing the value of the project, of the products they have, and making the most out of it is our main aim. Of course, the digital and the communication side, well, in increasing the number of followers that we've mentioned, and this transmitting La Liga image is our main aim and objective. What? No, I didn't want to do this. Wait a second. Yes. So what do we do for this? Well, we try to provide exclusive content for each market. This build them. For the data we obtain from the local funds, we build the most relevant and engaging content to provide this customized experience. Also try to develop new audiences by building content not only related with sports, but also related with the most emotional parts and the stories we want to share around the world. And also, doing this geo-blog posts in local languages, and detecting all the new digital platforms and the most popular ones in each area. And these are some examples I wanted to share with you of the actions we've actually taken during these days against the COVID-19 in this lockdown period we are all in. And one of them is La Liga Santander Fest. We're very proud of this action initiative we had. It's a charity concert that was shown in our broadcasters and online, and it was prepared with a very little amount of time. And the intention was to raise funds for the fight against COVID, having the famous artists and presenters in collaboration with our naming sponsor, also giving visibility to our sponsor, and with Universal Music. And an example of it is that we were trending topic in Twitter, and we had a further reach in Facebook than El Clásico in India. So it had a great impact. We collected more than 1 million euros, and it was seen by more than 50 million people. So another initiative was the La Liga Santander Challenge. This was a FIFA tournament involving all La Liga clubs in the first Spanish division, La Liga Santander. And it's represented by one player. They had a FIFA tournament, and it was seen by more than 1 million people. And it could be seen through Twitter and Twitch. Also, we had an initiative with our logo that we thought it was a good idea to show how we could being apart. This was the best way of being back together by adapting our logo to the situation. This was a smart strategy, and also building content for our broadcasters. So this is an example of how we do this digital work, and adapting the publications by doing these geolocalized infographics to increase the visibility of our sponsors, and being able to do segmented publications. In this case, is an example of La Liga Santander Fest. And as you can see, if, for example, we do a posting for a country like Colombia, and there's a famous singer participating from Colombia, then we would adapt the content, and we will focus on her figure in this country. And we are able also to have subtitles for the videos in the different languages. So, as a resume of what I've explained, this is the digital ecosystem in La Liga, where you can find the three main assets of La Liga: clubs, fans, are the competition. And as you can see, we can handle a lot of data that comes from our fans, from our different applications, webs, and this has made a great impact too in La Liga's strategy, building the business and intelligence and analytics department, which is a key department nowadays in La Liga, by which we are able to offer our fans La Liga web, La Liga app, social media, all the gaming and other services. And also we do the same for our clubs, providing them with CRM and with helping them with their digital strategy and applications. So, this is a bit of the resume of the digital side. Marta is going to explain more in depth the technological aspect. But well, I have given you some insights about how the digital transformation and the internationalization of La Liga has made an impact in the football leagues in general, and in particular in our league.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Elisa. Definitely great insights to be shared with the Serbian audience and global audience in general. I think you've set a perfect example of how digital transformation can be scaled also internationally. So that's amazing. So let's welcome Malta, which is going to share a bit more on the technology side. Malta.
Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Boyan. Thank you, Tim, for inviting us. I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going. Okay, there you go. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. As Elisa was.
Perfect. Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah. As Elisa was saying, the digital transformation has changed the whole football industry and the whole sports industry. And you can see how the companies have evolved, and it has had lots of consequences, even in the organizational chart. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about the audiovisual transformation that has come from the digital transformation. First of all, we have to understand that most of our income comes from our audiovisual product, because most of our income is coming from the broadcasters. But now, it's even more important because now we are content providers. Now we are competing against Netflix, against HBO. So we really need a very, very good audiovisual product. So how are we doing this in La Liga? We are using the latest technology in order to produce the best of the products. In the end, we have a product that is not easy to compete with Netflix, for example, because we cannot control the content, we cannot control the plot. We do not have a script, and we cannot then suddenly tell Messi, can you please score now? No, that's not possible. And that's the beauty of football, in fact. So that's why we are working a lot in what we can control. So what can we control is the technology that we are using. We are using a whole bunch of cameras that they give different shots, that they are giving very beautiful shots, like the goal line camera, the beauty cam. We have cinematic cameras this year, and it's very aesthetically. And we are now, well, almost every stadium already have the aerial cam, and we are including slow motion cams. But we are also working in the audio improvements and the quality in which we can give the product to the fans and to our broadcasters. I brought a short video because this, if I tell you, is very boring, but if we see it, it's much better. So let's see if it works. And we can see a little bit. Works? Okay, so as you can feel, we are investing a lot in our product, a lot. So why is this? Because as I told you, now we are content providers and the broadcasters are paying a lot of money for this. So we feel like it's also a responsibility to protect this product. And that's why in the last few years, we have developed an anti-piracy department. And what do we do here? We are developing softwares in-house that they are helping to protect our product. We have developed these 3 softwares so far that are Marauder, Lumiere, and Black Hole, and they are helping us to identify, monitor, and report illegal content posted in social media and websites. But also they are helping, especially Black Hole, they are helping us also with the piracy that comes from IPTV and car sharing. This is being very successful, and in the 4 last years, only with Marauder, we've been able to remove more than 1 million videos that they were illegal. We were able to remove more than 69,000 profiles and 3,000 apps that they were posting illegal content. And it's so successful that, for example, Dorna Sports is using, for example, now Lumiere for the same aspect. But what is also very, very interesting for this, from the business perspective, is that Now we have this technology is allowing us to have new sources of income. First, you need to understand that La Liga is sending 9 different fees for every game we broadcast. We are sending different fees to different territories, meaning that we are sending different images because the image is the same, because the game is the same and what you can see on TV is the same, but we can make some adjustments to that image. And where can we do it? We are using virtual panels where we can put advertising or different messages depending on the territory. You can see it very good in the DVR example that I brought, that it's a game from Valencia against Atletico Madrid. And this is something that we did with Unilever, which is a global partner for La Liga. And you can see that in the Europe fee, we put Rexona in the fence. We put Rexona because that's how we know the product here in Europe. But in the USA, they don't know it as Rexona. They know it as Clear. So in the USA fee, we included Clear, not Rexona. So this is allowing us a lot of things, but the most important thing is that now for us, for our business, we can have different partners of the same category in different territories. For example, we can partner with Coca-Cola in Russia and with Pepsi in Turkey. It's perfectly possible, and we can tell them, yes, you are going to be visible in Turkey, you are going to be visible in Russia. And also it's very important because our partners are very happy with this because, for example, with the Unilever example, you can see that they can segmentate within territories their products they want to publish. So what I wanted to say is that digital transformation in the end has changed the whole industry and is changing every aspect of the industry. Now we have different organizational charts than we used to have 10 years ago, and now we are focusing in things that we didn't used to. And here I want to agree with Shannon that it's important that we invest in technology that really brings value to what we have to do. And I think that this is what we are doing in La Liga.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Marta. So everyone, if there is questions, feel free to use the Q&A. Maybe Marta and Elisa, I have a question for you. How does the innovation kind of process within La Liga work in terms of, because you mentioned numerous technologies that you've implemented over the years, like I'm thinking of the 360 degrees replay partnership with Intel. How does this process work, and how does also you align with the clubs? Because some innovations are impacting more the clubs, more of your business. How do you kind of align the whole strategy so that everyone in the clubs gets the same technology, or how does the process work internally?
Well, and this is evolving all the time. So, but now we have an innovation department that they are now getting more in charge of this aspect, because they work with a lot of startups and they have like 2 different branches. The one is that they are looking for our own business, like opportunities for our business to grow, but then they have like the clubs branch where they make like this startup competition every year, and they look for startups that they can give solutions to the clubs that they are important for the fan engagement or for the smart stadiums or for whatever they believe that it's interesting. And that's how we are dealing with this internally now.
Okay, so there's both the process of finding innovation for the league itself, the league-wide innovation when it comes to media and so on, and then the club-specific innovations around fan engagement that you can push. Okay, I think we have some question. Roni is asking, Marta, it would be interesting to hear more about technology specifics such as tactical graphics. Maybe we can take it offline. Maybe I'm trying. Boyan, do you if you read the question with me, I think yeah.
What do you want to know about this technology? I mean, we are
We'll ask Roni to precise the question, and we'll get Sasa's question. So Sasa is asking, did you also develop DBR in-house or you outsource it? I think that's a good question. Is do you develop those technologies internally? How do you work with outsource partners?
Usually we outsource it. We have a lot of in-house technology, but mostly is everything that has to do with the anti-piracy. Everything, all of that, it's in-house, but the rest of the technology, we usually outsource it. For example, the 360 replays are coming from Intel, and we outsource it with top companies that they are helping with this.
Okay, interesting. And then maybe one question for Elisa, since we're speaking to a Serbian audience. What kind of the world? What do you see as the growth of the Serbian audience, or generally in the Balkan audience? What the main goal is to increase the number of fans, the awareness of the brand of La Liga, of course. And how do you, on a daily basis, try to engage with this audience to make it, as we say, local and global at the same time?
Yes, well, my position in this case is a bit complex because I'm based in Budapest, in Hungary. So I have a big territory to cover. But in this case, what we do is also an institutional job, like having good relations with these, like for example, with the Serbian Federation. We have contact with them, and we also have a reactive approach if a club asks us for help in the territory, because there are many Serbian, for example, players in La Liga. We try to get them into the communications, into the press. And so we are involved in trying to get the contacts of the media and to try to find content that is interesting for the Serbian audience, so that they will, of course, talk about La Liga and our players. And also we are doing posts in the local language. We are starting to do some geoblog posts in Facebook in Serbian, and we try to take into account well, everything that we can find that we think that they can connect us with the country. So ex-players, important dates, holidays, well, all of this type of things.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you. So I have maybe one last question to wrap it up. And I think because, you know, all fans are sitting at home, they can't wait for the game to be back. And so they're asking, I think they're thinking, when will be announced new regional TV partnerships? So I think fans are thinking, where should I subscribe to enjoy La Liga's games next season?
Well, if you want me to answer for your area.
I was asking about the regional partnerships.
Well, as I mentioned in my presentation, now we have a sport club as a broadcaster in Serbia, Croatia, and other Balkanic countries, and our agreement with them is until the end of next season. So there has been a tender in this last March, and we will know the result when the next season ends. So there will be no changes for next season.
Oh, okay. Okay. So amazing, amazing. So I think that's a wrap, Bojan.
Yes.
Right. I want to thank Marta and Elisa for joining us, and especially from two different locations. I think you yourself embody the local strategy of La Liga. So thank you for joining us.
Thanks to you. It's a pleasure for us to be here.
Yes, thank you a lot. Thank you a lot on your time. So in the end, I want to thank you all for joining us, to our great speakers for leading us through a tremendous world of sports tech. I would like to invite you to follow our networks and channels. We are going to announce the invitation for entrepreneurs and teams who are passionate about sports and who are seeking innovations in this field. We are keep up with enabling technology to disrupt sport, and thank you once again for your attention. Have a nice day and stay safe.
Thank you all. Thank you for joining. Stay safe over there. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.